and let's hear your president try to say a word that would define what he says are the Russian oligarchs, right, with their ill-gotten gains. They're a what? They're a kleptocracy. They're a government of thieves, a kleptocracy. I guess he might know something about that. Even if he can't say it, listen to him.
That will enhance our underlying effort to accommodate the Russian oligarchs and make sure we take their ill-begotten gains. We're going to accommodate them. We're going to seize their yachts, their luxury homes, and other ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Kleptocracy and the guys who are the kleptocracies. But these are bad guys.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: you think they're quite as bad as Corn Pop? That was really my question when he says these are bad guys. And this is the same guy, by the way, Joe Biden. Talk about a kleptocracy, right? He wants Congress to appropriate $33 billion more dollars for Ukraine, but not for arms this time. We've already appropriated $14 billion. We've got, all of these multi-billion-dollar arms deals going with them where we're just shipping them arms. We're arming them. We're training them. I mean, where is this going to lead? How smart is that? They're in a war with Russia. What are we doing sticking our nose in it? Are we trying to start a nuclear war? But Joe Biden now wants to spend $33 billion more dollars. He wants Congress to do a supplemental budget allocation. And guess what this is for? This is not for weapons. This is for Ukrainian government salaries, for their government pensions, and other budget obligations. So now we're essentially supporting the state of Ukraine to pay the obligations that they can't otherwise pay. Now, remember, folks, we can't pay our own obligations. We have to borrow money every year to fund our ongoing obligations, and that's why the national debt keeps increasing by leaps and bounds every year, because we can't even fund our own obligations. We can't raise the interest rates to the rate that we need to raise them to help try to fix the problem that we're currently facing with massive inflation in this country, because were we to raise the interest rates beyond about 6.5%, we now cannot even pay the interest every year on the national debt. I mean, you understand that if we raise the interest rates beyond about 6.5%, we can't pay the interest on the national debt. That's not pay for the rest of our budget. That's not pay for it. That's just pay the interest on the national debt. And would you call that insolvent? I mean, is that not bankrupt? Are we not bankrupt as a country? And if we're bankrupt and we can't afford to pay our own debts, and you can't afford to buy beef and chicken and fish at the grocery anymore, and you can't afford to buy fresh vegetables, then why in the world are we going to give $33 billion to the government of Ukraine for its pensions, its government salaries, and its budget obligations? I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. And you hear me say, well, they're our allies. Oh, they're our allies, are they? They're our allies. So how many troops did they have in Afghanistan? And you look into that, folks. Take a look into that, because you're talking between 10 and 40, depending on when you look into it. So they had a whopping couple of dozen troops in Afghanistan at one point. Wow, how could we make it without our coalition of allies? You understand, a coalition of allies, that's just marketing. That's just a whole marketing scheme that we pull every time we go to war. We get a coalition of allies, and it's really us and a few people from each of a bunch of different countries. They send a few people, and that's it, and that's our coalition. Now, the British might send a decent number, but other than that, we're not getting any help from anybody else. We're not getting a lot from Germany. We're not getting a lot from France. These coalitions are marketing. It's a marketing scheme to act like, well, the whole world is with us. Yeah, if by with us you mean that they put their name on it, but they don't actually put their blood and treasure into it. That's us. That's what we do. And we got crazy people like Joe Biden running our country right into the ground. You got people like Gavin Newsom. He's been mentioned as a possible Democratic presidential candidate after Biden, and he's running the state of California into the ground. That's why so many Californians are moving to Texas and Florida and other states, mostly Texas, I understand. But check out what he did just on May the 1st. He announced that California, basically their Medicaid and Medicare group called Medi-Cal, creatively enough, he's now expanded Medi-Cal to provide health coverage to everybody who's 50 years of age or older, and this is a quote, regardless of immigration status. So he's added an additional 185,000 people to what amounts to the Medicaid rolls in California because he just wants to, because he wants to just give your money away to non-citizens. And what's the point of all this? It looks like an attempt to bankrupt the country, doesn't it? I mean, they just extended this, by the way, twice. In 2019, they extended health coverage to illegals that are 26 and under because, we got to help the children 26 years old and under. And then in 2021, they began covering illegals over the age of 55. So now in the 2022-2023 budget proposal, they're adding everybody. They want to expand Medi-Cal to even include folks between the ages of 26 through 49. So you see where this is headed. They just included everybody over 50. We've got everybody under 26. And in the next budget, they want to include everybody in between. So just everybody who's not a citizen in this country who may or may not pay taxes. If they do pay taxes, they may or may not be paying it on a stolen Social Security number. They want to take all those people and put them on the government dole. And that means put them on your payroll, folks, if you're a taxpayer. And I know that basically less than half of us are anymore. But I know many of the listeners of this show are taxpayers. And that's what they're doing in California. Now, thank God we've got the greatest governor in the United States here in the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, and he ain't standing for any of that. Thank you for listening to the Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.